welcome everybody back to another week of Trash Panda Talks Wrestling with the one and only legendary Lloyd Legacy Sharp.
Hi.
Before we get started, I just want to get this out of the way because we neglect to say it every time. If you're enjoying watching these videos, like it, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Okay, so
it helps immensely.
It helps everybody. Helps me, helps you, helps Lloyd. Lloyd needs all the help he can get. Let's just do it.
Oh boy.
So what? This was a weird week. Do
you know what the weirdest thing about this week is? The weirdness of this week lies in how much the things that you would expect to suck did not.
Okay. Let's just jump in with Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
I just want to get my worst out of the way because it's such a small thing. The opening promo. Apparently, Randy just woke up and decided he wanted to do something that day. And then Nia Jax came out and, apparently she also woke up today and decided she wanted something. And I woke up this morning and decided I wanted pudding pops. So it was just right back to back to back. Like, I also woke up this morning.
Oh my God.
So stupid.
That was my honorable mention. The ongoing thing of I woke up and I woke up and I woke up. Jim Morrison woke up and had himself a beer, and it was just that was weird, but it was almost laughable at some point. So they didn't make my worst. My worst of the week was the fact that for no apparent reason, no reason that they explained through narrative or story or whatever, the match between Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre was suddenly non-title. And they had to make it seem like, if Dolph Ziggler wins this match, he can be closer to getting a shot at Drew McIntyre. Like, that was supposed to be a shot at Drew McIntyre's championship.
Right.
And they didn't explicitly mention it on TV. They just, you can't make a title match, a non-title match, and not explain that on television. That's the WWE Championship, and you underline just how meaningless it is when you make it a non-title match. You don't even explain why. I know why, because Randy, but you didn't explain that.
Again, that goes to my worst of the week being the opening promo, because now we know that this match between Dolph and McIntyre is just pointless. And also, it was pointless to begin with. Even if it had been a title match, what did we just have a pay-per-view for?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was the point?
I mean, I get it. Like, Dolph Ziggler crying and complaining, give me one last match. I wouldn't have minded seeing a title match on Raw if just to see Drew do what Dolph did to him. It makes storyline sense. I would have been bored by it. I didn't need to see it. Drew wins, lol. But at least it would have made sense. More sense than non-title, out of nowhere, RKO after.
Well, now that we got that out of the way, the best of Raw is probably consistently the best of Raw anyway. It's just Asuka. Asuka's the best. At first I hated the finish to that match, but it makes sense for long-term storytelling. It's the proper way to send Kyrie out if she, since she was leaving anyway. And then I didn't like it until Asuka's reaction at towards the end. That sold the whole finish for me. And that match was just, it doesn't get better than Asuka and Sasha. It just doesn't. Asuka, you're the best.
My best of the week was also Sasha versus Asuka as a match. The finish, I'm going to mention a little bit later in our best and worst of the week, but for Raw, and there are reasons for it, and it has actually nothing to do with Asuka. The reasons why is going to come up later. But for Raw, Sasha, Asuka in the ring, best. No complaints. That's just goodness every time.
It was a weird, Raw was, I guess, overall it was just okay.
Raw was
Weird.
I tolerated it. Like there were certain parts where I left the room. I'm like, I don't need to see this. I know it's but
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Even when I rewatched it to do my notes this morning, I think I spent like 15 minutes watching actual wrestling because the rest of it was I didn't care.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do something different this week. I want you to take AEW first, and then I'll take NXT.
All right. I know everybody knows this is the best wrestling show on TV right now. I tell you that every week, and if you haven't watched and figured that out yet, go fuck yourself. I know I said last week was probably one of the best nights in wrestling that I've seen in a long time, and this week matched it again. Oh man, so I get my worst out of the way. It's a tie between two. Actually, no, it's not even a tie. I'll give honorable mention to worst of AEW this week to the 10-man tag match because it as great as it was, spot here, spot. That's the kind of matches I love. It's just too many cooks, too much confusion, not enough storytelling in there. Although there was, some storytelling, some fallout. But the worst of the week, Hikaru Shida and Diamante. I don't really know too much about Diamante other than she beat Ivelisse on a dark or last week to get this match, and Hikaru Shida just doesn't feel like a champion to me. So overall, that match just doesn't work for me. However, AEW, everything else right that night. I will say that the tornado tag match was fantastic with Darby Allin and Jon Moxley and the other guys. Fuck them. the Inner Circle. No, it wasn't the Inner Circle. It was Ricky Starks and big guy. I'm forgetting names right now. Anyway, it was an exciting match. Matt Cardona arriving in AEW. Zack Ryder showing up in AEW almost unannounced, although it was rumored. We did not know it was going to come that soon. But holy shit, the best thing on AEW, MJF's promo, where he's basically the Donald Trump of AEW. He made fun of the fans. He made fun of the business. He made fun of Moxley. He said Moxley was cosplaying as Stone Cold, essentially. It was great. That whole promo actually made me not only like MJF, but I think he might actually get the title. And I'm here for it. It was fantastic. Another great episode of AEW. MJF, man, you have learned from the masters. I'm glad you're hanging out with Jericho because it is paying off, buddy. Yeah, AEW is fantastic. And with that, I'll let you have it, Lloyd.
Alrighty. Now, as everybody knows, I review NXT, which is not the best wrestling show on television, but it is the best WWE show on television on a weekly basis consistently. Even though it hasn't been the same since I've gone on television, it should have stayed on the network. That being the case, this week was really, really, really good. My worst of NXT wasn't even that bad. It just seemed to happen out of nowhere for no particular reason other than these two people are feuding and these two people are feuding. Let's tag them up. But the women's tag match, for me, was the worst. Minor gripe. Minor. Because it started out insane with Io Shirai coming out and getting attacked right out of the freaking entranceway, and then Candice and everybody else coming out. It started as a brawl, which a wrestling show that starts off as a free-for-all, okay with me, but given Dakota Kai coming back and the whole thing with her and Tegan Knox and that whole thing. It's like I felt like that needed more attention than just tag match. So yeah, minor gripe, but everything else was great, including wasn't the main event, but the best for me on NXT this week was Johnny Wrestling versus Roderick Strong. I have not seen a one-on-one, not since Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship a few weeks ago on SmackDown, which is the last time SmackDown was, until this week, really good. Not since that match have I seen a television match that just made me and my father pop almost every 2 to 3 minutes. That match was amazing. The triple threat match it was great, fine, but Johnny versus Roderick Strong, the best. Honorable mention, Keith Lee, and that whole deal he did with Cross and the interruption by Cameron Grimes. Keith Lee looking strong, but also kind of shaken. That promo and his domination of Cameron Grimes while he was dealing with Cross, honorable mention for the best. NXT, good shit this week.
All right. Well, that brings us into our most dreaded moment of the week. WWE Smackdown. What we got?
Oh man, you know what? I am glad to say that I didn't hate SmackDown this week.
I didn't either. I was surprised.
My worst for SmackDown this week is honestly the cliffhanger. Not because the cliffhanger was bad, but because I actually want to see what happens next. And it took me back to those days where the worst part of the show was the fact that it went off the air because you don't want it to end there. You want to see what's going to happen. And the strength of SmackDown's cliffhanger, for the first time in us doing this show, makes the fact that SmackDown ended the worst part of the show instead of the best, because that was something I really want to see followed up on. Even though, wait and see, depending on how good it'll be afterwards, but that is the best SmackDown cliffhanger I've seen in months, and the fact that SmackDown had to go off the air on that, and I can't see what's going to happen next right now, that's the worst of SmackDown, which is pretty much a double negative, which is a positive.
Just so the people know, you're referring to The Fiend and Alexa Bliss, correct?
Yes.
It is
yes.
Also, The Fiend is actually the worst of the week for me as well, but not for the same reason. Not because I like the cliffhanger. I do like the cliffhanger. I do want to know what's going to happen, but it's the worst for me because The Fiend ain't got no business putting his hands on the goddess Alexa Bliss, my future ex-wife. I just didn't like. I get kind of mixed emotions about mixed gender matchups, and unless they're done right, and I don't like Alexa Bliss just getting assaulted by the Fiend Bray Wyatt. It's a little too Alabama for me.
Fair. I get it. They're playing off, the Swamp match, Sister Abigail, Alexa, Braun.
I totally get what they're going for. Just keep your dirty fucking hands off the goddess Alexa.
That's fair. We don't need Stone Cold assaulting Lita in 2020 2.0. We don't need that. Fair enough.
Same principle.
All right. Best.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll take it. The best of SmackDown was the Jeff Hardy and Sheamus feud is over, and they made it abundantly clear that it was over. And thank God, Zod, Darkseid, whoever runs this shit, that it's over.
That's over. That made my honorable mention.
I felt like I literally got out of my chair. I did this. I went to my knees. I was Shawn Michaels, and I said, "Thank you. It's over." Oh Lord, thank God. Whoever runs this shit, thank you.
So that was your best or your honorable mention?
That was my best. Honorable mention to AJ Styles and Grant Metalik for that Intercontinental Championship match, except for the fact that it was a foregone conclusion, so that took the intrigue out of it. But yeah.
Yeah, that was a better match than I anticipated, so I'll give that an honorable mention as well. Honorable mention to the opening promos on this. It really set the tone for the whole show, gave me stuff to look forward to, made sure that I hung out for the end. Yeah, the opening promos were absolutely awesome. However, I'm giving the best to the Big E singles push. Big E not only winning that match against The Miz, which The Miz is a formidable wrestler, but winning it with a submission. When was the last time we saw a legit submission finish that made you feel good about the wrestler that executed it? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This was just Big E shining, and I hope he gets a push at like the U.S. title, or even if he's just in talks for any other titles. I'm here for Big E.
Amen.
Put your meat on my meat. I'm still not over that from last week, and I had to re-show it.
I am not there for that. I mean, hey. It's 2020. Whatever you do, that's your business.
I can't judge.
But I mean, I think that if you're going to put it on television to a worldwide audience on Fox, fair enough. All right.
Well, that brings that. Now we gotta decide what's the best and worst of the week. Give me your worst, Lloyd.
All right, my worst of the week is the Sasha versus Asuka finish, and here's why. It's not because of the fact that it was bad for the story. It's not because of the fact that it didn't make sense for the way that Kyrie was written off television. I get all that. All that's fine. It's the fact that Sasha Banks, one of the most accomplished female wrestlers of this generation, suddenly cannot win a match without the help of Bayley. Whereas Bayley is able to pin people clean in the middle of the ring every now and then, like she did on Smackdown, Sasha Banks can't seem to win a match without Bayley getting involved. And I get it. It's heel shtick. It's supposed to get heat. It's supposed to be like, oh, well, she would have had it. I'm sorry. There are certain wrestlers that even as heels are too good in the ring to justify, not every once in a while, almost never being able to win a match without Bayley's help, or without Bayley's help. Sasha needed Bayley's help to win the match at Extreme Rules via referee. Sasha needed Bayley's help on Raw 3 straight weeks in a row to win her matches. I'm sorry, but Sasha Banks deserves better than if she had had some clean victories up to this point, this finish wouldn't have bothered me so much. But Sasha Banks, as a wrestler, deserves better than to have almost all of her matches be won as a result of interference when her tag team partner wins with help and clean in the middle of the ring. Sasha deserves better than that. I'm sorry. Other than that, I get it. Story-wise, I get it. But Sasha deserves better than that every single time she wrestles.
But it's such good long-term storytelling, not just between Sasha and Bayley, but also with Asuka. Like Asuka running off to save her friend, and that being the end of that match, it made me love Asuka even more. So I'm just gonna disagree with you.
No, I agree. The story was fine. I get why they did it. If Sasha has not had help from Bayley every single match she's had in the last 3 months leading up to that match, I would have been fine with it. Because as a story, it's fine. As a story, I love it. But Sasha Banks cannot win a match without Bayley. And from a wrestling psychology standpoint, that's bullshit. So, you know what? My worst is not really a matter of what happened on Raw. It's an ongoing problem that's been building for the past 3 months of Sasha not being able to win without Bayley. On its own, that finish was fine. But this reoccurring theme of Sasha not being able to win without help is a problem. And that's why it was the worst for me.
Well, okay, I give you that. For me, I don't want to get all riled up again, but leave Alexa alone. Leave her alone. Keep your dirty fiend hands off the goddess. Okay? I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna Just I'm gonna calm down. Give me something good, Lloyd. Give me something.
Yeah, I need something good. Boss can't win without the freaking role model. Anyway, the best for me this week, ironically, as much as the content is a little weird, the Smackdown cliffhanger. And that too is a product of an ongoing problem that has not repeated itself this week. Because SmackDown is consistently the worst thing on television that gives me no reason to care what comes the next week. Not so much just for how it happened, but I have not been any more invested to watch SmackDown the following week after the one that we're reviewing since we started doing this show. And just for giving me a reason to want to come back, which SmackDown does not do. And also for giving me a reason to want to see The Fiend get his ass kicked, which WWE has not done since The Fiend debuted.
That's true.
There are two things that cliffhanger did that SmackDown and WWE's booking of The Fiend has not done since The Fiend got here and since I started watching SmackDown on Fox. For that, the cliffhanger gets my best of the week.
You know, I didn't really think about that. Like, they did finally make me think The Fiend is a bad guy instead of like an anti-hero. So
yes, I want Braun Strowman to put those hands on Bray Wyatt, just like Bray Wyatt put his hands on Alexa Bliss. I want Bray Wyatt to go down now, and I've not felt that way since Wyatt was on Daniel Bryan.
You know, I'm still confused. Also, like, Braun Strowman lost that match technically. So is the Fiend the champion?
It wasn't a title match.
Oh, well, now I hate that match.
They didn't explicitly mention that, which seems to be a reoccurring theme in title matches on television lately. But yeah, it wasn't a title match.
You got a good point. All right, best of the week for me. I'll just say it again. MJF, man, you're becoming the king of promos. Have you seen it, Lloyd?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I came across it on YouTube, even without even trying. I just saw it, and I saw like some of the reactions to it, and I'm like, you know what? Let me tune in. I'm like, this is Bret Hart '97 turning heel kind of shit. Oh my God.
Well, he had been heel for a while.
I know. There's a feeling of it. Like I've never been that invigorated.
It was the whole package of his character and the promo after like much development.
He was calling out the business. He was calling out the boys. He was calling out the culture, which is pretty much what Bret Hart was doing in 1997. And MJF did it 10 times better than Bret did. That was awesome.
I might actually vote for MJF via mail-in ballot.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. He killed that. One of the best promos I've seen in a long time. And I know I say that a lot when it comes to AEW, but man, just one man by himself with a camera. Well, not one man. He did have to tell his intern to smile, which I thought was just doubling down on that character. Man, give that boy a title. Give that boy a title. Mm-hmm. Seriously. All right, so that's the best and worst of the week. But you know we never get out of here without a little bit of history. And this week's history, pretty iconic moment. July 30th, 1985, the year before I was born, the debut of Miss Elizabeth on WWF, which started one of the most iconic storied romances in the history of the sport with the Macho Man himself, Randy Savage. You see the chill bumps right now thinking about it.
Yes.
But yeah, that was the announcement as Miss Elizabeth as Macho Man's manager, and the love story that continued afterwards.
And let's not forget the love and hate story that continued when they went over to WCW.
Exactly.
Miss Elizabeth and the NWO was well, there's definitely a lot to be said for that, but we don't have time. But yes, that is a moment in history that obviously paved the way for a lot.
Yes. So yeah, iconic moment. I also just this week in history marked the passing of Rowdy Roddy Piper. Want to give a shout out to the Piper and the Piper's Pit.
Just when you think you have all the answers, he changes the questions. Rest in peace, Rowdy.
And that'll wrap it up for the week, guys. Lloyd, what you got going on this week? Episode probably won't be till Monday, so.
Right. Well, given that it's going on after tonight, not too much going on this week. Because now, when you're watching this, it's going to be Monday. So I'll be on Coronathon, most likely, this coming Sunday. I will be doing, obviously, this in about 6 days from the time you're all seeing this video. And you know what? For the hell of it, I'll put this out there. I'll be doing 2 spots on Sauce in the City Comedy Network, which can be found on YouTube. One on August 14th, one on August 26th. And I'll be in person in Hampton as my karaoke alter ego on August 28th at Charlie's Hat House.
Nice. Very nice. Maybe I'll be able to come up to Charlie's next time. We'll see what my work schedule looks like. As for me, I'm doing this. I'm doing this every week. We do still have Trash Conspiracy on Wednesday. Most of the time you can see me at Midway or the Highway on Sundays while Lloyd is at Coronathon. Well, sometimes he pops over there too. So that's, something to look out for. We are adding another show. Currently not going to name it yet, but it will be coming in the next couple of weeks. And because I've been such a lazy shitbag for the last 2 weeks, we're getting 2 episodes of Trash Conspiracy this week. Hold me to that, people. I want to apologize to everybody. I've been a little bit lax because I hurt myself again. I sliced my hand open, so I had to take some time off and didn't get an episode out this week. But I will have an episode.
It's a less destructive injury than he had last year, so he'll be fine.
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm already. It's just taped up a little bit. It's fine. It's gonna be good. I can still type and do podcast stuff, so we're fine.
Exactly. And he can slap me across the face if he wasn't so far away.
All right, and with that being said, guys, we're gonna get out of here. It's been 2
sweet. Shout out to Irish O'Neill and Ani Moush, our producers. We'll see you next time.